So, why was the metric system created? Before the metric system, each town or city would have their own system for measuring things, and this made trade difficult. In 1799, during the French Revolution, a decimal-based system was created, and the units were from objects in the real world. The system was updated a few times and is now called the Système International des Units, and that's in French, which I did not pronounce in French. We would say it in English, International System of Units, and the abbreviation is SI. And that's the only reason I'm showing you the French translation of it, because that's why it's S and then I, because it goes back to the French. And they also are basically the creators of it, so they should get some credit. It's the only system of measurement with an official status in nearly every country in the world. Here's some U.S. history for us. The Metric Conversion Act is an act of Congress that U.S. President Gerald Ford signed into law on December 23, 1975. It declared the metric system the preferred system of weights and measures for the United States trade and commerce, but it permitted the U.S. customary units in all activities, which means even though we officially should be using grams, we still seem to be using pounds. Another interesting thing is since 2007, NASA uses the SI units for moon missions because there's a lot of international communication between the US and other countries with building either the rockets and whatnot. And if the units aren't correct, crashes can actually happen. And that did happen on one of our Mars missions. Which countries use the metric system and which countries use the imperial system? So metric is pretty much like when you're thinking kilometers per hour, and then imperial system would be like miles per hour. Okay, so as you can see in blue, that's all the countries that'll use the metric system. So we're talking meters, we're talking kilometers per hour, we're talking liters, that kind of stuff. And then when we look at the imperial system, that's things like pounds, miles per hour. That's the United States. Also, two other countries, they also do that. And then there's one other thing worth mentioning is the mixed countries, and that is the United Kingdom. So this is like Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland. They use a mixture of metric and imperial. So an interesting thing about that is the United Kingdom ruled most of the world at one point in its history. And you can kind of see down here, they talk about it, Canada, Australia, India, and then some other Commonwealth countries, they still use a mixture. But on the books officially, in blue, those are the countries that use the metric system. And then red, they're the countries that don't, even though, as we talked about it, on the books, the US should be changing to the metric system. It just hasn't happened yet.